This conference will now be recorded.
Call the April 4th City Council meeting to order. Chaplain Manson, please.
Would you stand as able and join me for the invocation? Dear Lord and Father of us all, we come to you this evening to ask your guidance as the Sedalia City Council, mayor, administrator, council members, and staff meet to discuss and make important decisions that will affect our community and its citizens. We are grateful for their service and dedication to their tasks. We offer a special prayer this evening for our new pavilion, that all who perform there and all who attend events there will find a blessing for many years that lie ahead. We're thankful for all of our first responders, police, fire, and this evening a 5-year commendation pin is being given out to one of our wonderful firemen. We're thankful for so many, including also sheriff, hospital staff, EMTs, ambulance, all who work so hard around the clock, 24 hours a day, often putting their own well-being at risk to serve and protect us. We are blessed to be living in the United States of America, our constitutional republic, remembering that so many fought and died, military and civilian, to create and preserve it for 245 years. Bless all who are still serving our country here and throughout the world. Keep them safe and keep them protected. We offer a special prayer also for Ukraine and its people who are suffering and dying in this terrible incursion from Russia. Please bless them and let's make this come to an end. And now, as we leave this evening, please protect us and our loved ones. Keep us from harm until we meet again. All this we pray in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Arlie.
Lehman.
Here.
Oldham.
Here.
Dawson.
Here.
Bogus. Here. Richardson.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
And Bliss.
Here. So tonight we have two presentations. The first presentation, I'm going to turn this over to Steve Bliss.
The first presentation is concerning the situation in Ukraine, and several people, and John and I, really wanted to find a way for the city of Sedalia to support the situated people in Ukraine. The Sedalia Tabernacle Church Youth Group is here tonight. Long story short, I went and looked for a number of different ways to get that done, and I ran into Essie, who's one of the young people here tonight, and that so happens that youth group wanted to put together a festival, and so they're going to show you a little bit about what's going on in Ukraine and give you an idea about what we're going to do. I'll let Essie or one of the kids, young people, talk about the date if we've got that set. And I'm looking for, I think we can go ahead and talk about the date too, but you do your thing.
So as many of you know,
Hold the mic to you.
yes, yes, absolutely. As many of you know, there is a war in Ukraine, and just this morning, my father, who is from the Odessa region, he was telling me about how it got hit. And so, given that there is this situation, we have a video that kind of better shows exactly what we'd like to talk about today, if we can have that played as well. And then here's the video. You can just watch it. As you can see, the destruction is really something else in Ukraine right now. And this man is standing here in rubble. He's just explaining exactly what's going on and who was previously living in this area and what has happened to their homes. And this portion of the video shows how our church and other churches as well are working together to raise money for Ukraine. And so this is some young people who are in Ukraine delivering food and water to hot spots, which are places where like people can't really come in. They can't really get to having food or water over there. So how they pack up their little vans and go around to these areas. And a lot of times we deliver also food to these refugee homes in a way. There are these homes that are opened up to people so that they can come in and stay. And so this is another video we have of someone that they just go drive around in their cars and just have it packed up with supplies for people, because a lot of times, people are just on the streets, they're starving, they haven't had food for days. And so that's why they need these cars to stop by and they get so we also prepare food for the refugees in a lot of these stations and these places. People go through and they're able to have a place where they can just stop by and eat hot meals before they continue their journey. And there's also sleeping arrangements, so there are places where the refugees are able to go through in Ukraine as they go by since their homes are destroyed. And this is one of those places where they have, I believe, 36 beds, I'm not really certain, but they have a lot of beds that are for these Ukrainians that are just passing through for them to be able to have a place to sleep for the night while they continue to support us as students really going. And so there's like tables they can sit at and eat. Everything else they might possibly need. Another center, which is how they kind of all together and doing. And that's the video we had prepared that kind of shows exactly like how changes that we're able to make and how we're able to contribute. And so one of the ways we were thinking of doing this was to have a Ukrainian festival. And so I don't know if we were able to, I'll explain a little bit of what we were wanting to do. There's going to be a lot of like Ukrainian food all around this. So we're planning to do it near the pavilion if everything goes well there. And so we'd want to do it on the 24th, and it would be, there'd be authentic food stations throughout, like a variety of Ukrainian food. We'd have like a silent auction area, flower bouquets, like a photo booth station, and then a station where, like in the Ukrainian, there's like this outfit that they have, the authentic like Ukrainian outfit. And the little girls, a lot of times they have these flower crowns that they make. And so we're gonna have a little flower crown station, and then a coloring station, a painting class, and like other games and activities that the kids will be able to enjoy during that day.
So April 24th.
April 24th at 2 o'clock to 8 p.m. is what we're thinking, right? 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Yes.
Okay, so more will come out about that.
Yes,
We'll get that highly publicized.
yes, we will.
And I think Sedalia will receive it really well. It'll be any of the Ukrainian people in the area contributing. It'll be
Yes.
a Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
a good way to spend a Sunday afternoon,
Absolutely.
and show your support for Ukraine.
Absolutely, yes.
And we'll keep doing it every month until we get this taken care of, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think the people of Sedalia are certainly welcome to contact me, contact anyone on the council. Throw your support to Ukraine. You know, they're fighting for our freedom.
Yes, they are.
And we need to support these people and continue to support them until this atrocity is over.
Yes, absolutely.
I believe. And I'll do my part.
I don't know, are you part of the Ukrainian choir?
The Ukrainian, so we have a choir in our church. We have a youth choir, which we say youth, but really it's just people that aren't really married yet. So our youth goes up quite a bit in age. But I do sing in the youth choir. So, and we have a church choir as well, like where people also sing.
One of your choirs is coming Sunday afternoon to the Thompson site of the United Methodist Church. They're going to perform there.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think it's at 5 o'clock, so
Oh,
whoever's involved with that. So everybody's welcome to come.
absolutely. Thank you.
Esther, when we talked earlier on, we brought up maybe having a parade.
Mm-hmm.
Have you given that any thought?
A parade. So we've discussed it amongst our leaders and stuff. I don't know if that's definitely something we can do still, but it's still working. We're still talking about it, trying to see if that's something that we can possibly do on the 24th as well. But as far as I know, I don't think it's a yes right now. So.
Esther, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You might introduce Ivan and Lana.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ivan and Lana are also part of our team. Ivan is our youth leader, and so he's coming up maybe here for a bit.
And is that true? Ivan has a very compelling story also.
Well, I could share a little bit. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll take a couple minutes. So basically, Steve and Mayor John, they asked me last time we had a meeting last Wednesday, and so they asked me to share a little bit about what we're doing. So the van that you guys saw in the video, our church, that was the first thing that actually our church was asked to do. We sent finances before, but send them mostly relatives to relatives. It wasn't something that was a church official kind of thing. What happened was a church reached out and they said that they're using their personal vehicles that fit 3 people in the back, and they're going to Kiev from Lviv region, basically from the west. They're going east picking up people, and while they're picking up people, they're dropping off supplies. That's what you saw, the little cars dropping off supplies. 90% of those supplies that they deliver are baby food, formula, wipes, because parents are not able to take care of them. They either gave birth and they're still in recovery and by themselves, and somebody has to do all of it. There's a different video and pictures that I've received personally. People send there's 40 beds of just baby cribs, and there's only 2 people taking care of them. And as the main guy that's responsible for it, he's asking for baby food items because there's no moms in there at all to feed them. So they're doing everything themselves, and you could hear gunshots going off outside. And so that's one of the first things that they asked for was a bigger van so they could get more people out. And those guys that you saw, that's one of the youth leaders and the pastor's son from Ukraine, the first church that we started to sponsor and support. And they're sitting in bulletproof vests, they're going to Kiev, driving through gunfire, picking up as much people as they can. The video where there's a picture where the car was flipped upside down, that's the places where they go. They pick up mainly moms that have 3 or more kids, and that's their first priority. If they have space, then it's elderly or people that have less kids, and they drive them back to their church. Their church is set up like all those. There's a wedding venue, one of them that had the 46 beds. It was actually a wedding venue at one point. All of the churches are converted. They're set up into makeshift housing centers. And so a lot of the churches that are outside of cities, they're the ones that take in the most people because there's no reason for the bombing to be outside of city. They're trying to cause maximum damage. And so the idea is to bring finances. These people were asking for finances. So our church started doing what we could, but then other people started asking, different churches from different regions, because for 3 weeks mainly, they were able to hold off on their own funds. Like, they didn't reach out, they didn't call for help from us, from any other church. They held off on their own funds and their own whatever they had on their, like in their farms or what people could bring to church. After that, they started to reach out. The difference is not like we need finances mainly, because we're starting to work more broadly now. So we had 4 churches when we were planning this meeting, and now we have 3 other churches that we talked. My dad called one of his friends and he talked to him, and he said, he was asking, do you need finances? I can send something. He says, what's the point of finances? I have my own. I don't have anything to buy. There's nothing to buy in our region. Everything got robbed and all the stores are empty. So we're just kind of on our own trying to figure out what we're going to do and how it's going to get brought to us, the food. So there's a mission that we worked with previously in Africa. They're called Transforming Nations at this point, started as Transforming Africa. And they are based right now, all of the majority of their personnel is based in Poland. And they have a warehouse that was given to them, and they buy up blankets, pillows, dry goods, containers that come from wherever, from different countries. They get a portion of it and they stack it, and then they either hire drivers or people just volunteer to drive, and they take it to the places where like the stores are gone pretty much. So one of the things like that happened not too long ago, I think like 4 weeks ago, my mother-in-law's a relative, one of hers, he was one of the drivers. They had 3 vans, like the one that was pictured. They had 3 vans, and 3 separate drivers were running the whole course, one after another. And it was pretty much they go there, come back, 2-day break, and they go again. And so at one point, all 3 vans got shut up. One person survived with their van, came back with supplies still, whatever he was bringing with him. He made it out alive. My mother-in-law's relative, he did not make it. He had 5 kids. Majority of them are on their own already, married or older, but he was one of them that didn't make it. And another person, they don't know what happened to him or the van with the supplies. Still, it's been 4 weeks, and they doubt that they're gonna find out. So the situation is not whether we need something, one specific item. That's why we're setting up like a food drive station. And we were thinking of doing it on the 24th, but after talking with our church board, they want it to be on Wednesday. They're supposed to receive a banner, like Donate for Ukraine, and it's going to be set up at our church location, Sedalia Tabernacle, off of Highway B. And you can bring the items, whoever wants to. They have the option to bring the items there between like 5 and 8 p.m. From what I understand, there's going to be somebody there. If nobody's there, people are allowed to leave it by the container. Somebody's going to come, they're going to load it into containers. And then every week, like last time after youth service, our youth went through all the stuff, checked everything, make sure everything's sealed properly, all the stuff, packaged it into boxes, and we're filling up containers to send out containers. So that's something that our church is also trying to do. Wasn't a plan at first, but after hearing all these stories, that's something that we can't just sit by and do nothing.
So non-perishables at the church, we can do that, but we can do this on the 24th.
Yeah.
And there'll be places there for free will donations as we do this, and that'll get finances flowing too. So we've kind of got a 2-pronged approach here.
Yeah. So throughout from Wednesday up till the 24th for now, and possibly after that, whoever has the ability or wants to just stop by, doesn't want to bring everything and wait till the 24th, they're welcome to do so before that. And then at the place here, when we're going to be set up, there's going to be donations, food, like festival kind of stuff, and decorations, basically everything to show support for Ukraine. And we're doing this starting with our church, but a lot of the community, Ukrainian community, not only our church, it's been only a couple of days, and people are reaching out to see what they can do. So at first we thought it was a big task to tackle, and now we have pretty much every station has somebody assigned that's willing to do something.
Great.
Questions?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
you.
Now we have this presentation. Thomas Olin has strong feelings about this. Right. He's going to make this presentation.
April is a month for many issues to bring awareness to, but one of the issues that is near to my heart is autism awareness. In September of 2019, your council attended a Missouri Municipal League conference, and during that conference, I partook in a flash session titled Building an Autism-Friendly City. This session explained the need for a city, first responders, organizations, and businesses to have an understanding of what autism is and that it does not exempt anyone from living an extraordinary life. In July of 2020, we were able to accomplish a goal I had set, and that was making Sedalia one of the few towns declared as autism-friendly in the state of Missouri. So what does that mean? This means we do not differ, we do not neglect, we do not ignore. In fact, we encourage, we support, and we thrive knowing that everyone can experience this life to its fullest. We still have a long way to go. Several businesses and organizations need to receive an understanding, and crisis intervention training will always be an ongoing task. However, every step in the direction is another wall that's being broken down for somebody. So in honor of April being Autism Awareness Month, I'm thankful and honored to read a proclamation declaring that April is Autism Awareness Month and that Sedalia is still an autism-friendly city. I've asked the Director of Operations for Retrieving Freedom, Kyle Koriegi, to attend here tonight with me and to receive the proclamation that I'm about to read off. So Kyle, you want to stand up here with me and go right up front. Retrieving Freedom is a fantastic organization that trains canines for veterans who have suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder, but they also are able to pair canines with children and adolescents and individuals who also are affected by autism as well. So Kyle, thank you so much for everything you're doing for Sedalia. This is a place that you now call home and have Retrieving Freedom call home, and many more years of the greatness that you're going to give and the life that you're going to be able to give so many others as well. So I'll read off this and I'll present it to Retrieving Freedom. So whereas autism is the fastest growing developmental disability in the world today, with more than 3.5 million Americans living with autism, and whereas April has been designated as World Autism Awareness Month, and together we can create a world free of barriers to inclusion and full of understanding and acceptance of the differences that make us strong. And whereas hope lies in an informed public and community committed to providing support and service to individuals diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and their families. And whereas the city of Sedalia acknowledges its citizens with autism as valued members of our community and recognizes the importance of education concerning autism. And whereas the city of Sedalia is committed to becoming inclusive and free of physical and social barriers and aspires to provide equal opportunities to persons with autism. Now, therefore, John Katie, Mayor of the City of Sedalia, hereby on behalf of the City Council of Sedalia and the citizens of Sedalia, Missouri, that Sedalia is an autism-friendly city. And be it further resolved that the City of Sedalia is dedicated to increasing the awareness and support for individuals with autism, along with education and training for our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mayor.
Now we have some service awards. First was to Brett Stevenson. He's not going to be here tonight, but I was going to give him a hard time. Brett is, he's been working for the city for 25 years, and he's the guy, and his crew has been doing flat work on sidewalks. And I drive around, I see BS on those sidewalks. So I was going to buy him a branding iron so he could do that. He wouldn't get his Thank you, Stuart. Secondly, we have a Colby staff that's been with us for 5 years in the fire department. Chief Irwin is here to make a presentation. Chief, please come forward.
Members of the council, Mr. Mayor, Colby Snap, as you are aware, has been here with 5 years for the City of Sedalia Fire Department. In 5 years, he has done a number of things. I stopped counting at 15 state certifications in those 5 years. He was promoted to driver. He's also our shade tree mechanic, if you will. He fixes all the minor issues that go wrong with our trucks and stuff that he can fix. He's a pretty all-around good guy, and I'm glad to have him, and I hope that he gives me 25 more. Colby Snap.
And now, it seems like Randy Basson with the Animal Control has been here for 25 years. And it's only been 5. All right, come on. For this period of time, I feel Randy and I want to know. She's probably had more conversations about Randy and her department. I think it's turning out very positive. We appreciate it. I know you're passionate about what you do, and you have great care for those animals there. I'll give you a little stand in this. You're welcome. So on the minutes, approving these minutes, we had an inquiry from Congate from Albert Riley on questioning the accuracy of the minutes. So, Calvin, you want to kind of read that and see how we amend that process?
He has made a comment through our community engagement software that he thought that Councilman Lehman had some comments that were important for the record, and so I went back and listened to the video that's posted out on YouTube, and got the full context of what he was saying was left out, and yeah, they are some pretty important words. So Arlene went through and listened to the recording and put the comments in their entirety for that section that he was concerned about. And so on page 4 of the minutes of the public hearing, there's a paragraph there on the bottom of the page that starts out Councilman Dawson. The words there in quote was the ones that he was concerned about, along with an extra sentence or two there to make sure that they were in context. So it's Councilman Lehman stated that he has thought about this for quite a bit and that he is leaving the council, but does think that some of this falls on our shoulders. He thinks that we are not doing a good job of communicating with our citizens in regard to, 1, how funding is done, and 2, why we are in the position of where we are at with the enterprise funds that fund this particular area. In the past, some council members, and I'm sorry, this is where it starts the sentence, the portion that he did not mention, but I think is important to the context. In the past, some council members would not raise rates because they wanted to get reelected or say that they weren't for that. The city was forced by DNR to take out a $30 million bond for fixes in sewer and stormwater, and rates tripled. A couple years after that, the council decided to incrementally bring up rates. And then, of course, there was the documents that were, or the comments that were in the position, or in the version that was sent out. The Dawson comments and Bogus comments, and I think those are all in there as though they were as they were sent out. So we recommend that those those minutes be amended, to reflect those comments.
And you see that these minutes are quite detailed. It's appropriate. So we have a motion.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Your Honor, could I expand a little bit on that is to, in some areas, that first part of what I said about it, we're not doing a good job of that and it falls on our shoulders. That's really true in a sense that there seems to be an issue, and I was hoping to address that night, but the Democrat was not here that night. I would like the Democrat and anybody that's reporting tonight to go back and look at these previous minutes and actually what was said. There's got to be a way that we can get information out, on one hand, to the public as a whole. And that's one of the, we do have it posted on our website, that we've got that kind of stuff there. But that being said, somehow we've got to get with our press, whoever it's going to be reporting, to get this information out to them as to what's really happening in the background, instead of just putting out there that we raised the rates or this kind of thing has happened. That's one thing. The other side of this goes to the citizens, and I want to clarify this. That night, there was nobody here. That was a budget night that we approved for the next year. There was nobody in sight. That's an issue to me. There is some part of a responsibility of a citizen. There's two things. The first thing that needs to be a citizen's responsibility is you need to get out and vote, period. And number two is, to vote correctly, you need to do some research to find out what's truly going on.
Good point. Yeah.
Just another side point. We don't keep verbatim minutes. I mean,
No.
That's not, and that's kind of standard practice.
Yeah. Yeah, we did put these in quotes because they are the same. But yes, good point. We typically try to paraphrase down, otherwise the minutes would be so long that.
You know, things that are very important for clarity. I think Arlene is correct.
And another thing that the council has made, and the mayor under his guise has made since he started, is we've stopped the upstairs meeting to get it down here to where the public can be. Take advantage of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, the next item is, Steve, I know you don't have anything on the agenda tonight. I ask, just for another clarity sake, for Calvin Shaw to report on something that's concerning me about clarity and ability to communicate to other forms of government.
Yeah, Mayor Cady had asked me to put together some information on the way that the jail was, the agreement on the jail was done with the county, and then how that was funded. So just went back and looked at the history and the documents, and back in 2001, the city and the county entered into a joint arrangement to basically combine what the city had a jail, I think it was like 12 beds or something like that the city had, and then also the county was looking at redoing their jail. And at that point, the old federal building, I think it was Social Security Administration was in that, and so they donated that to the city and the county for making the space for that jail, and then also the sheriff's office. So as per that agreement, the city went out and issued debt or certificates of participation leases for $8,420,000 to do two things. One is to build a new jail. I think it was 37,000 square feet new jail. And then also do the county renovation project that they defined in the project, which was to rehab the old federal building into the sheriff's administrative offices and all of that, as well as rehabbing the courthouse, the portion of the courthouse that did used to house the sheriff, and rehab that for use in other places in the county, as well as the old jail, and then to be part of the new jail and in the juvenile building. That over the years has been that debt has been refinanced twice, once in 2007 and then again the most recent in 2017. The original certificates of participation were for 20 years, and then a balloon payment of $1.5 million. So the annual debt service on that was about $665,000 per year that the city's been paying on that since 2001. But then in 2017, the amortization schedule was changed and it was extended out to 2026. And the reason for that was to eliminate that balloon payment that was coming up in 2021. So in 2017, we spread that out and extended it out to 2017. There's approximately $2.1 million that remains outstanding on it. And we pay about $458,000 a year currently on that. I lost my place here, I'm sorry. The original agreement, the agreement that's still in place for the joint services agreement for the jail is basically that the city would pay for building the jail and the county would operate it and pay for all of the operating costs and manage the jail. That agreement is a 30-year agreement, so it'll expire in December 4th of 2031, and it has 2 options to renew for 10 succeeding years. There was another piece of this that was a little confusing to me, and I haven't spent a lot of time trying to figure this one out, but we really are kind of joined at the hip here on this project because some of the land is city land and some of it's county land. So, the jail actually crosses both property lines and city owns part of it and the county owns part of it. So, be happy to entertain any questions or comments or any questions, Council? That's kind of what you had in mind.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have a question. When this happened, the city paid to handle this bill. Is the county agreed to take care of everything, fingerprint the prisoners, housing?
Yeah, that was basically the agreement. Yeah.
So that's not happening now, right?
Well, no, they're housing the prisoners.
For the fingerprint. Was that supposed to be part of their?
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing all of the booking.
They do all the state booking. If we have a prisoner that we take our facilities and we do our booking.
Yeah.
So the city's happy with the way things are going, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's just a bit of lack of understanding of the agreement we had with the county, and it hasn't been conveyed accurately. And that was my opinion. That's what I'm trying to get some clarity to.
And so we're paying $458,000 a year on that debt service. So.
And that goes through 26.
Mm-hmm.
The agreement we have with the county goes through 31.
Were there any financial agreements in regards to this other than what you just brought up?
Yeah, I mean, basically the agreements that how those lawyers are and the debts are, you got to have several agreements. So first of all, there was the cooperation agreement that I just mentioned that kind of was the umbrella of all of the other agreements. Then there was a county ground lease to the city, so the land that the county has, the land that's titled to the county, they had to lease that to the city so that the city could use that as collateral for the debt. And then the county lease agreement from the city for like the courthouse, where again, they had to lease that to the city so that they could use it for debt financing, and then the city would then lease it back to the county. And then those payments come to pay off that portion of that project. And then the county lease agreement, the city ground lease to the trustee. So then all of the property was leased to the city, the ground, that's where the building is. And then we lease it to the trustee, that's the certificate of participation, and then they sell those bonds and those leases as certificates of participation. And then the city leases it back from the trustee to use it, and then of course we lease it to the county then to operate the jail.
So I think what the impetus for me to have some clarity is there's been several comments made that the city does not participate in that jailing process. And I just want to make sure everyone understands what we have and what we continue to do. Thomas Owen.
Yes, sir. I have 2 items tonight for Public Works. The first item is we need to have a bid rejection for a positive displacement blower for the Central Wastewater Treatment Plant. On April 1st, we have now been required to start clearing the E. coli out of the lines. This blower that we're seeking was going to be about 24 weeks out. So that's not going to be beneficial for us at all. So we're going to reject this bid. We're aware of a blower that we believe is immediately available. And so I believe our Public Works Director and our Public Works Department will be seeking that item, that blower right there. So we just need to reject the bid that did come in, though.
Move to reject it.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? That's kind of interesting. You're going to reject the positive.
Reject the positive, yeah. The second item I have tonight is a very exciting item, actually. During our budget work session and our meetings, council agreed to keep in or put in the budget the purchase of a cold planter, an asphalt paver, and a skid steer loader. This will allow the city to start paving and creating its own roads and save us money quite a bit in the long run. Did we calculate a payback on this one?
Yeah, rough numbers. I think it's about a 3-year payback.
That's what I thought. So about a 3-year payback, and these large pieces of equipment last for how many years? Depending on well-oiled machines, 15 to 20 years. So this is an amazing purchase, and I'm excited that the city is going to start be able to take this underneath its wing and start moving quicker on the projects we desire to get completed.
I think an important piece of that too is it adds more flexibility to it.
Yes.
You know, last year our major projects just kept getting delayed and
Exactly right.
pushed back. So this year it'll be more on our own as long as we can get materials, right?
Exactly right.
It looks like Kevin and I talked about it today, the availability. It looks like we're going to be, by May, we'll have all the equipment in place.
That's right.
Appreciate it. And Andrew played a big part of this. He's been an advocate for this. Thank you.
I asked for the ordinance.
Are you finished for today?
Yes, sir.
So, community development, Andrew, don't speak.
No, we got it. We like the Bible stuff. Hang on.
Bring the ordinance, please.
Okay, bill number 2022-51, an ordinance authorizing 3 sales agreements for the purchasing of equipment.
Second reading.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Bill number 2022-51, an ordinance authorizing 3 sales agreements for the purchasing of equipment.
Final passage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Richardson?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Lehman?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes.
And Bogus.
No, that's twice for her.
Did I call for it twice? I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor.
And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir.
She'd have to pay for more of that if she voted twice, right?
What'd you say about me?
No, I said if Tina voted twice, she'd have to kick in, to pay for that. No, she's just trying to get her street done first.
I'm surprised he didn't say something about Wayne.
It's coming, yeah.
Okay, Andrew. County Padasco.
Yep, you got it. So first item on the agenda, this is, we've got some issues regarding addresses and the 911 system. We got, Chief Building Official Devin Lake here to go ahead and take us through those issues. Kind of explain what's happening. It's a big life safety issue. So.
This is a pretty complicated issue.
It is.
Okay, so I'm going to start out with some history on this issue. This has been a long-standing problem. The problem with us attacking it prior to now is it would be it's very time-consuming to figure out exactly what all these address issues are. And so in 2021, Pettis County received a Missouri 911 Service Board grant. James Tyson actually received that grant. It was for $139,721. It was 100% paid for by grant funds. And with that grant, there was a company that field verified every address, actually drove the road, and compared what was in the field to what was in the master street address guide. So that is the master database for landline 911 calls. So if you call 911 from a landline, it bounces off that database to give a location to the dispatcher. So from that grant information, Mr. Tyson passed off all the problems that company found in city limits. He's not nice enough to take care of our problems. He's only going to take care of his. So to start, I'm going to go over the core addressing of the city. If you didn't know, addresses start at the intersection of Main and Ohio. So if your back is facing that intersection, your even numbers will always be on your right. Your odd numbers will always be on your left. As you move away from that intersection, you grow in 100 blocks. So the first block's 100, 200, so on and so forth. So remembering that scheme is the basis of addressing in the city. So the importance of correct addressing. Minimally is deliveries, UPS, FedEx, making sure that they get to correct destinations. The most important issue is timely emergency response. So you're thinking of medical emergencies, fires, car accidents, active shooters, domestic violence calls. In an emergency, seconds count. So response times significantly affect mortality and the likelihood of being admitted to the hospital for medical emergencies. A fire doubles in size for every 30 seconds, and an average fire truck can pump 1,200 gallons per minute. So that's to kind of give you an idea. If you have an address that is in one of my future slides, that's delayed response. So 30 seconds can matter in a fire when it's growing twice that size in 30 seconds. So PD and fire in their training are expected to learn the block sequencing and the core addressing scheme of the city. So, Daniel Chief, what is the 800 block of West? What block is east of Engineer, Chief Wirt? 1200. So they know those things off the top of their head, and that's how they navigate in a 911 emergency. We were going to call out the new driver, but he bailed to see if he knew him. So this training works really well until there's an exception, and these exceptions take up a lot of training for fire and PD. So I have 5 big examples of these exceptions. So the first one, I hope you guys have this on the computers in front of them, right? Okay. So as you can see on the far left side, it says North Engineer. So what did Chief Wirt say was the block east of Engineer? 1200. What is that? What are those addresses? 100. So all of the addresses on the north part of Engineer, east of Engineer, start at 100. So you have an emergency, you have a new driver, you're at 104 East Jackson. Where's the driver going to go? They're going to go to Ohio because it's a 100 block address, and that's where the 100 block starts until it doesn't. Here's an example of if you're have your back to the Main and Ohio intersection, evens should be on your right, odds should be on your left. As you can see on West First Street, all the odds are on your right, the evens are on your left. Inconsistent block numbers. So on the north side of 11th, you go from the 1800 block to the 2100 block. On the south side of 11th, you have the 1800 block, the 2000 block, and then the street below that would be Fairview Court, and it goes to the 1900 block. So within a 300-foot section of street, you have 4 different 100 blocks. Right there, you've skipped 1900 and 2000. There, you've skipped 1900. And you have 2000 block addresses across from 1800 block addresses. Here's another situation. This is a good one because emergency response takes Broadway most of the time to most emergencies. So we have the 2100 block on 7th Street, 2200 block on Broadway, the 2300 block on the south side of Broadway and on 9th, and the 2400 block on 10th. So you can imagine how that would be confusing for someone trying to respond to 911. In this situation, there's no 15th Street that goes through there, so all the numbers go from 14th all the way to 16th. And all of that should be a 1500 block. So my question to you is, would you like us to fix the problem? My estimate is there are about 2,100 properties that would have to have their addresses changed. It's about 20% of the city. I know Pettis County did this exercise back in 2010, 2011. They fixed approximately 300 in the county. Marshall also did, corrected their addressing, which I think was much more extensive. If I'm correct, John? They actually changed where their dividing lines were, correct? Okay. Yeah. So we could do research on other communities to figure out how they handled the situation. We could form a committee to review the proposed corrections. This will be a very challenging project. Good communication will be key to its success. Inevitably, there will be people that will be upset over this situation, but ultimately, it's for their safety. So the consequences for not fixing, there's possible delayed response for you and your family's emergency. There's added time to train PD and fire. They have to teach all those exceptions. So they have special pages in their training that says there's, 2,200 blocks of East Broadway, which is a problem. I didn't put it up there, but they have to teach all of those exceptions to the drivers and the responders so that they know. And this will be a forever problem. So any future annexations that you add, the addresses will continue to be wrong if you don't ever fix the sequencing. So, does anybody have any questions?
Who sets up the addressing in the first place from a piece of property?
Like who assigns the address?
Yes.
I do.
Well, okay.
The building official's position has been the addressing authority in the past.
I think we need to fix it. That's my personal opinion.
You said the county received a grant, is that correct?
Yes.
How much was that grant?
$139,000. It was a 100% grant to pay for somebody to drive every address in Pettis County,
So does that grant include the funding for the city to correct their issue, or is that grant just
All it did is identify the problem.
verify?
Fix the problem.
Okay.
It identified whether it was wrong inside or
I understand.
it recognized there was an issue, and then, it's up to the municipality to find out how they're gonna fix the problem.
Okay. Is finding out how we're going to fix the problem also trying to locate the funding for this as well? Or are there grants available to continue fixing?
I mean, the only expense I would see at this time is you have to send out certified letters to notify them that their address is changing. That would be the only expense.
What happens to the legal description of the property?
The legal description doesn't change.
Nothing changes?
No. No, you're good. Go ahead.
Legal description is not just the address, legal description needs to bound.
Okay. That's not true.
Yeah.
Are there any time constraints on getting this done?
No.
Just want to hear
Well, we are talking about big changes for people. I mean, people get medication, things like that in the mail, so
Right.
going slow, I think, is important
Yeah.
here. And being able to get the word out that, and educate these people that, you know, your life safety is at risk here because it's taken us more time to get to your address.
Right. Yep. I don't know, how long did it take you to
It took us almost a year to do 300, maybe some of that was because we're a two-person office, it just took longer. The biggest thing that we sent out with the information safety and address is to let people know, collect your mail for 3 months, figure out what you want to get, and make sure you change address of what you want. The U.S. mail will forward for 1 year, so you have that stretch to do that. But yeah, it's definitely worth letting the property owners know.
That was one of the things that I was going to ask Devin, as far as I understand with our police department and with our fire department, but you've got the post office that's going to have to be involved in this.
Oh, absolutely.
The utilities.
Utilities, yes.
And Evergy that's going to have to be involved in all of
Correct.
this.
Yep.
Because I know whenever you're turning on your utilities, they always say, what's the address?
Correct. So right now, when we send out addresses, when a new address is issued or if an address is changed, it is sent to me, it's sent to the county, it's sent to all the utilities, it's sent to the post office. We have an entire list of people that are notified of all those things. So.
Yeah, the house on the corner for me is, 1401, and I live next door to 1405, and there's no space that could have been built in there, so my address should actually have been 1403, I think.
Right.
And I've actually seen houses where there might be 1200, and then next door was 1210. And there was no space in
Right.
that house, so.
Right.
That's what you're talking about, changing address.
Well, probably not to that extent. If it's in the order it's supposed to be and it's in the correct 100 block, then we'll leave it. If it's not in the correct 100 block, or if it's numbered odd on the even side, even on the odd side, those addresses will change. But if it's in sequence 1200 to 1210 and it's in the correct order and in the correct block, we'll leave it alone.
Yeah, there is a house in Sedalia that have even on one side and then odd, and the odd should have been even.
Right.
I mean, there's not that many, but there's a few.
Yes.
There's one. That whole situation on East Broadway
Yes.
was that way when I was a kid.
Yep.
And you could drive around in that location
Right.
trying to.
So Devin, what's the first step you think we need to take with approaching this then? Is that forming the committee? Or is that...
I mean, if that's what, I will take whatever direction you guys want to do. If you want to make a committee or if you.
I would move to, maybe it's a partnership between community development and public safety, to see what we can form.
Yeah.
About starting that committee and starting the process of correcting these issues then.
Sure.
I'll give you a second for that.
So, I agree. Future mayor.
Do you have a target number for the amount of addresses you're looking to change per year?
That can be up to the committee, I would think. You know, I got 20, I'm estimating there's about 2,100. So if you want to break it up into 2 years, 3 years.
4 or 5? That'll get plenty of time to do it right now.
I mean, or just rip the Band-Aid off.
Uh-huh.
People receive, prepaid food. It wasn't their food.
Yeah, 'cause in my block, I'm 620, and the person across the street from me is 724.
There you go. That's
And
it.
I'm
That's
like,
an example of a problem.
What happened to the rest of the
I've noticed this in the reporting, I was reading the arrest reports, I think it was KSIS, and there was an arrest at 1800 East Harvey. There is no 1800 East Harvey.
Well, it probably should be, but it's actually not.
Yeah. Something else, right?
I would think we would want to try and get this accomplished as quickly as we can, because, here again, we're dealing with safety.
That's my thought too. The quicker the better, as painful as it's gonna be.
Doing it right is one thing, but on the other hand, I think the sooner we can get it done, the better off it's going to be for the citizens.
Right.
It's easy for justice to.
Yeah. There's a house in town, and the address is 666 East 13th. I would not, I would have had that changed a long time ago.
There are some problems, like, and I didn't put it in there, but there are technically 3 600 blocks of east. And I would not recommend changing that, because if you do, it changes everything from Hancock on. Anything that has an east address, which your 2100 just went to probably 5,000 or 6,000 addresses.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to just form a committee and really get
And
into
review
the
those.
details
Mhm.
of how we need to approach this.
Absolutely.
It's not my election year, is it?
Thank you.
Next item I have is thank you, Devin.
Thank you, thank you.
Is a bid rejection, so that I'm gonna need a motion in a second to reject the bid for roof repair replacement at 119 West Main. So I think this bid was done, we sent this out for, bid, it was July or the summer? July, yeah, the summer. The development of that property has not progressed, so staff recommends let's go ahead and reject it.
Motion to reject.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Okay, the third item, is an ordinance you have before you. This amends the ordinance creating the Central Business and Cultural District Board. And so what we've done with this is, we had Missouri Main Street come through. They compiled a list of recommendations for us. What we're doing is we're folding in those recommendations with the ordinance forming that board. If you take a look at it, you go ahead and scroll to it. There are 4 committees formed through these changes. First one is the design committee. The focus of that's going to be the downtown public spaces, an organization committee, a promotion committee, and an economic vitality committee. These will be volunteer committees chaired by members of the Central Business and Cultural District Board. Also, another change we've made is we've taken our downtown planner position and we've made that a non-voting member of the board, as well as a non-voting member of each one of those volunteer committees. So hopefully that strengthens the cooperation between the staff and the board there. So, all right, does anybody got anything else?
Any questions, council?
It's good.
Okay. Read the ordinance, please, Arlene. Oops.
Bill number 2022-52, an ordinance amending Division 4 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, to incorporate the Main Street model into Central Business and Cultural District Board functions.
Second reading. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2022-52, an ordinance amending Division 4 of Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, to incorporate the Main Street model into Central Business and Cultural District Board functions.
Final passage.
Roll call, please.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Lehman?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
And Richardson?
Yes.
All in favor?
Okay, fourth item we have, that you have before you is an ordinance approving a mural license agreement form. So, recall we went ahead and, we received a grant, and then also a generous donation from, the Hayes in the amount of $10,000, and the grant was for $10,000, total $20,000. So we're in the process of going ahead and creating a mural downtown in one of the alleys. So what this is actually a template or a form that we can take, and we can use this down the road as an agreement between the property owner for doing those murals.
Any discussion, council? Read the ordinance, please, Arlene.
Bill number 2022-53, an ordinance approving a mural license agreement form.
Second. Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Bill number 2022-53, an ordinance approving a mural license agreement form.
Final passage.
Second. Roll call, please.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yep.
Lehman?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
And Cross?
Yes.
All in favor?
The fifth item you have before you, this is an ordinance approving and accepting the quote from the artist doing the mural at 209 South Ohio. That was what we were just talking about, where we got the grant for $10,000, and then the Hayden donated another $10,000 to get that done. So.
Any questions, council? Arlene, read the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2022-54, an ordinance approving and accepting a quote from Stephanie Azir Sattler for the completion of a mural located at 209 South Ohio Avenue.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Bill number 2022-54, an ordinance approving and accepting a quote from Stephanie Azir Sattler for the completion of a mural located at 209 South Ohio Avenue.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bliss?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Lehman, getting ahead of myself.
Yes.
Lehman, Oldham,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cross, and Foster.
Yes.
All in favor?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Liquor licenses, Arlene?
Okay, we initially, when we sent out the agenda, we had 3 renewals, but today we have another one added, so there'll be 4 this evening. The first one we added was Smoker Friendly's liquor license renewal. They were going to expire tomorrow, so we need to go ahead and include those. So the 4 for tonight is Carlos A. Morales Pascual, doing business as Los Volcanos Mexican Restaurant at 504 West 16th Street for liquor by the drink license. Henry Hatfield, doing business as East Street Bar, 1201 East 3rd Street for a liquor by the drink and Sunday sales license. Virginia K. Jones, doing business as Prime Fab Trip at 216 West Broadway for a packaged liquor and Sunday sales. And Daniel S. Fox, doing business as Smoker Friendly, 1700 East Broadway Boulevard for a packaged liquor and Sunday sales license.
Motion to approve and block.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Any council members or city administrators who make any comments today?
I want to take a moment and thank Brenda and our street department and public works department. We now have lights on Thompson Boulevard. So, yeah, that was quite an undertaking, but thank you so much. I'm glad we were able. We still have a long way to go on that road, so we're excited to get that road repaired later this year. But we now have, I think we've added, 5? I think an additional 5 lights. They're larger heads as well. Each light is a larger head, but now we have a total of about 10 lights on that road.
They increased the rent fee, but it's much needed.
Much needed, yeah. So, but thank you so much. Glad we were able to get that accomplished.
Big issue.
I just wanted to comment on, this past weekend, we had a lot of activity going on around town. We had, the Dare Car Show, which I understand had a great crowd and great success. We had the No Bro Art Walk, which I understand as well was a great success. The sidewalk sale, the book walk, the home and garden show, the first robotics regional competition, and Team Screen took first place, and I think Team Screen Junior took second, right? Or their alliance took second. I don't know. what I heard. At least Steve Screen got first, though, and second did very well, or junior did very well. And then I think, Mr. Lauber had something.
Mr. Shaw, thank you. Mayor and council just passed out this evening pamphlets. We have our annual city official trainings coming up, so I just wanted to point that out. The two closest to Sedalia are April 22nd in Independence. It's at the, I think some of you have been to that one before, Midwest Public Risk facility, or April 29th. We have one in Jefferson City at the police training facility there. I think some of you have been there as well. So those coming up, so folks that are inbound or want a refresher, absolutely hope they can join us.
Yep. And Tabitha will coordinate the reservations for you. So just get which one you want to go to Tabitha, and she'll get the reservation.
As I say, it was a very well, worthwhile.
And kind of hard to beat the prize.
And good.
I had a gentleman call me that lives across the street from Whittier School, and he wanted to know if there was any chance of putting up one of the blinking school zone signs like a horseman. Like let's look into that. I know they're quite expensive. I didn't know if that's the reason why we didn't have one there or not. But he said
you had something on your.
Go down through there, we're gonna get one sign there that says school zone.
Brenda, you had something on your strategic plan. I just don't remember what it was.
And I had a couple of calls about the trash cans being left in the streets, on sidewalks. I know there's, I believe it's Leak Summit, where you can be fined and put on your water bill if it's not, if you can't. But, I'm just wondering how it would breathe. You know, should the cans be behind the house or beside the house, or I don't know.
Yeah, our ordinance is that they're not supposed to be put out 24 hours, more than 24 hours in advance, and then they're supposed to be picked up within 24 hours after the pickup. Am I remembering that correctly? So yeah, there is, we have an ordinance on that, so it is a code violation if they're not doing it.
So, they're still sitting out in the street and on the sidewalk all over town.
The biggest issue probably is the manpower and enforcing that is difficult. So we have a chronic offender, so we can appeal to that. That's the biggest issue.
I guess you're gonna put me in charge of that, aren't you?
Well, you're right now. You go back and report on it.
There's a form online on the city website. Report issue.
Any constituent would like to make their comment tonight? Sure. Somebody say something very nice about this.
Seeing nothing, I motion to move to closed door meeting for subsections 1, legal advice, and 2, real estate.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lehman,
Yes.
Oldham,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes.
Bogus, Richardson, Cross, Foster, and Bliss.
Yep.
I'm going, where are you going?